violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video. All right, guys. So the first video I want to show you is of a super gremlin actually getting caught up in the act, and he got pressed, and it looks like he did not have the upper hand in this situation, which I love to see. Okay. And obviously he's rocking the Pooh Shiesty mask, Pooh Shiesty mask, Pooh Shiesty mask. So you got to be careful for those. So let's watch as this super gremlin on demon time cowers, awaiting his fate of the individual that he attempted to victimize.
So who robbed me?
Trayvon Wright.
And who else?
And Kylan.
He gave it up real quick, and he a Travis Scott looking dude.
You trying to pay me with this, right?
Yeah, they sent me on the mission.
Whose
Trayvon Wright.
Instagram? They sent you what?
They sent me on this mission to come do this right here with
To
you.
rob me again, right?
Yes. Trayvon Wright and Kylan. I don't know his last name, but that's his last
Who's
name.
the dude that was with you?
Oh, the nigga that was in the passenger
Who was in the
seat.
passenger seat with
That's
you?
my homie Elijah. That's
Elijah.
my- Elijah.
The address you gave me, who's?
Dang, this man told everybody everything. He told on every single person who was involved. I mean, and these are the dudes y'all hitting licks with. These are the dude that's y'all gang, okay? This is your slime. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Address is that?
That was just an address that they sent us to. They made they dropped us off.
And who was those kids standing on the block?
That's Boobop and them. They live over there.
They was telling you we was coming, right?
No, they wasn't. That's
Yes,
not
they did.
them. That's Boobop and his
I'm a
little
really-
brother.
This man talking 100 miles per hour, trying to fight for his life right now. It looks like the guy may be standing over him. Maybe he's a bigger guy physically, or maybe he has a weapon. Who knows?
That's Boobop
I don't
and his
give a
little
fuck.
brother.
So why did they rob me? What
I
my
don't,
shit?
look, I'm gonna tell you the whole story. Look,
You don't
so
tell me the story.
them niggas wanted to buy a Rolex train off of me, right?
Okay.
7,000. I meet up with.
Look at how crooked the man's hands are when he's explaining this. That's wild. He was scared for his life. This man looked like he throwing up gang signs.
Tell me the story.
Them niggas wanted to buy a Rolex train off of me, right?
Okay.
7,000. I meet up with them niggas by El Dorado Park. They robbed me, put me at gunpoint and everything. Once they
What
put me
kind of
at
guns were
gunpoint,
they?
They was just black guns. I don't
Black
remember.
guns. Did they have?
Yeah.
What did they have?
And one had
What they have?
One had a beam on it, and then another one had
What color was the beam?
red. It was red.
Okay.
They
Dang, this man told everything. He told it all. I'm telling y'all, if he's squealing to the victim, he gonna definitely talk to the police. These super snitching gremlins are on demon time.
robbed me with that at nighttime. And
What
then
else is there? How many guns?
And it was only 2 guns that I seen. I remember it was only 2 guns. And then that's when
The
they
police is looking for you, bro.
I know the police. That's why I'm saying I'm waiting.
And the police got you, nigga. They got.
He hopes that the police picks him up. He hopes that the slave catchers picks him up, because if he's left in the custody of one of his king brothers and they actually, you know, were not law-abiding citizens like it sounds like these guys who caught this super gremlin up are, he would have been got domed easily.
What else is there? How many guns?
And it was only 2 guns that I seen. I remember it was only 2 guns. And then that's when
The
they
police is looking for you, bro.
I know the police. That's why I'm saying I'm waiting.
And the police got you, nigga. They got you, bro.
6:11 right now. Police are looking for the driver of a Mini Cooper who hit a moped rider in downtown LA and just took off. The hit and run crash was caught on surveillance video. You can see the rider waiting at the red light here when the driver of the blue Mini Cooper slams
Woo! I mean, reckless, man.
right into him. When the light turns green, the driver would just take off.
Wow.
Now, another car tried to chase after the Mini, but he got away. This happened last weekend at the corner of 3rd and Flower Streets. The moped rider survived the crash, but suffered broken bones.
A frightening collision caught on camera as a Mini Cooper slams into a man on a moped stopped at a red light. And as soon as that light turns green, the Mini Cooper takes off. Tonight, the man mowed down is speaking out and asking that Mini driver to step up and take responsibility. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter talked to him tonight and joins us live from downtown L.A. where the hit and run happened. Leanne.
David, it happened right here at 3rd and Flower, an extremely busy intersection. Tonight, the victim is recovering. The LAPD offering a $25,000 reward to find that hit and run driver. Miguel Velasquez never saw it coming. Sitting on his moped at the red light in downtown LA, all he heard was a loud, fast approaching car.
I would say mid-turn, he slammed into me and I was already in the air at that point. I hit my wrist, which ultimately broke one, fractured the other, and my tailbone was badly bruised.
Wow, man. We got a lot of reckless drivers out here. We've done stories on several. We did a story on the sister who was in LA, the nurse who murked 5 people. And then we did the story on the brother, Mikey Simeon, who just killed 5 people in a one-way head-on collision. So it's safe to say that, you know, these super gremlins do not know how to drive.
The 30-year-old severely injured. The suspect's car stalled out at the red light.
That gave me a chance to look up and make eye contact with this individual. And yeah, he had a look of concern mainly for himself.
Can you tell us what he looked like?
Not for me in any way.
Hit and run. Get his ass. Get his ass.
Witnesses capturing the scene as a Good Samaritan tried to follow the hit and run driver, getting a partial plate. The vehicle, similar to this one, is a royal blue Mini Cooper with a white top and white mirrors.
Honestly, I don't know how you follow a car that long and only get a partial plate. But nevertheless, guys, I don't necessarily advise you to follow these hit and run suspects because they can get pretty violent. Obviously, they're careless, and it could end badly for you.
Investigators also believe it has front-end damage. The hit and run happened August 14th, just after midnight at 3rd and Flower. Miguel, who had just moved from Chicago, was on his way home from work.
When he hit, it really did like slow things down. And in that moment, I'm thinking, like, how could this happen?
He says he's eternally grateful to the 3 Good Samaritans who rushed to his aid, pulling him from the busy intersection. Grateful to be alive, Miguel says there's no doubt the suspect knew he hit him. He's just hoping he'll do the right thing and turn himself in.
He made eye contact with me and decided that I wasn't good enough to stop and help. Honestly, I don't want any negative outcome. I just want him to take accountability for what he did to me.
So you don't want a negative outcome, but you want to, bruh, we got to start having some type of vengeance for these criminals, man, for real.
GoFundMe has been set up to help Miguel, who is now out of work. His moped completely destroyed. You can find the link on our website, abc7.com. Again, the LAPD offering a $25,000 reward in the search for that hit and run driver. Live in downtown Los Angeles, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Leanne, thank you for that report.
LAPD officers are looking for a hit-and-run driver tonight who slammed into a man riding a moped in downtown L.A. and sped away.
The victim suffered a number of injuries. He is asking for the public's help to catch the driver responsible. KTLA's Mary Beth McDade live outside LAPD headquarters with more on the story you saw first on 5. Mary Beth.
Yes, and Mike and Sherry, you know, when you watch this video, it's just amazing to know that this man has survived and that he is able to walk and talk. He says he is truly grateful to the Good Samaritans who sprang to his rescue and helped him out that night. Watch what happens to a man on a moped as he waits at a red light in downtown LA at 3rd and Flower. A royal blue Mini Cooper can be seen speeding up behind him and plowing into him. It happened on August 14th around 12:30 in the morning.
I was on my way home from work. I had stopped at a red light here at 3rd and Flower, and a man struck me from behind going about 50 miles an hour.
Miguel Velasquez, a 30-year-old restaurant server, says he went airborne.
Launched me about 15 feet from the original position of where I was.
Instead of stopping to help Miguel, the driver is seen on video taking off.
That's him in the blue.
A witness also captured the suspect on his cell phone fleeing the scene and a Prius chasing after him.
Luckily, someone followed him. They have a partial plate.
Miguel was left with severe injuries.
Dang.
2 broken wrists, a badly...
Was that his girl? Shit. She kind of tough, ain't it? She looked like she thick.
Plate.
Miguel was left with severe injuries. 2 broken wrists, a badly injured tailbone, and road rash.
What y'all think? What y'all think, chat? She can get it?
Severe injuries, 2 broken wrists, a badly injured tailbone, and road rash.
Honestly, I'm grateful to be alive. That is the biggest blessing of this entire situation.
Miguel says he managed to get a good look at the hit-and-run driver.
I looked up to see him looking at me with this look of concern only for himself.
Can we get the description, please, Miguel?
Police are now searching for that driver, who's described as a 40-year-old Indian or Hispanic man with...
Okay. So y'all heard it. He could be a spicy curry burrito gremlin. We don't know. But what we do know is these spicy curry burrito gremlins are on demon time.
With dark hair and a Mini Cooper like this one. Meantime, Miguel, an artist, and his girlfriend, an actress, who only moved to LA about 2 months ago from Chicago to start a new life, will no doubt have a few more challenges doing that. They just hope the driver does the right thing.
I just really hope that this guy finds it in his heart to turn himself in and, you know, just really hold himself accountable.
And now Miguel will not be able to work for the next few months and does have some hefty medical bills mounting. And so a GoFundMe page has been set up to help him out. You can find a link to that on our website, KTLA.com.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
All right, guys, so I did want to address this story. It is getting very woke on college campuses, and this is a perfect example of that. We have I guess this is a student center, an off-campus student housing center at UC Berkeley that bans white guests or glider guests from common areas to avoid glider violence. This is one of the most ludicrous things that I've ever seen. As you guys know, unfortunately, you know, the more colorful part of the demographic commits the majority of the crimes in this country. It's not a good thing, or violent crime specifically. It's not a good thing. It's not something that we are glorifying or are proud of, but that is the reality. So when you look at this student center, okay, or student housing, dining commons, or housing commons rather, it just it doesn't make any sense, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the more gliders you have in the area, the safer it probably is. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Everybody knows that. It's an unspoken rule, but for some reason we're trying to act as if they're just super violent and they popping off every time, and these glider gremlins are out here just going crazy. And that could be further from the truth. Like I said, unfortunately, we all know that the #1 cause of death between black men between the ages of 18 and 24 is gun violence, or i.e. another super gremlin taking his life. We even had a report that said the #1 cause of death for 2021 for children was gun violence. And we know where the majority of that gun violence came from. So for them to say they're trying to avoid white violence, I mean, it's honestly laughable. And I will be very interested to see how violent these housing commons get. So let's read these guest rules. House members and rules should always be respected by all guests. Make sure your guests understand our house values and uphold the theme of the house, as you are responsible for their behavior. Many POC members moved here to be able to avoid white violence and presence, so respect their decision of avoidance if you bring white guests. That, I mean, how racist can you get? This notion that people of color can be racist is absolutely ludicrous. And we see it day by day. We see it with the Stop Asian Hate thing. Because, I mean, who's really attacking Asians more than us? That's just the reality. These super racist gremlins are on demon time. Okay, so let's get into it. Guest limit masks. Okay, so guest limit per house member is 5 guests. All guests must wear masks in common spaces. So super woke already, respecting the retarded mask mandate. Guest chat. Always announce guests in the guest chat if they will be in common spaces with you, and if they are white. That's crazy. And I think that's dangerous to report whenever a white person is in the common area, because these super gremlins might try and rob them, and these burrito gremlins, especially at UC Berkeley. Guests in common spaces. Guests are allowed in common spaces, but please be mindful. If there are house members in the room beforehand, white guests are not allowed in common spaces. Wow. So blatant racism and segregation against white people. Guests with members. Do not leave guests alone in common spaces to avoid house members assuming it's a stranger and alerting the house chat. Parents/family members. Avoid bringing parents/family members that express bigotry. Queer, black, and indigenous members should not have to avoid common spaces because of homophobic or racist parents/family members. Okay. Noise level. Be conscious of the amount of noise you and your guests are making in common spaces or in your room. Our house walls are very thin, and we have quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. weekdays, 1 a.m. to 10 a.m. weekends. If this is truly a POC ran housing common, we're going to see it fall very quickly. They won't be taking out the trash. You know, the main common area is going to always be dirty. The hallway is going to be dirty. The elevator is going to be dirty. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. If white people are involved or aren't involved, especially if it's high volumes of POC and they're in positions of power to make executive decisions on what happens in that building, you know, I'm afraid that this thing is going to fall right on its face and fail. So, hey, who knows? Maybe they'll overcome, but I honestly do not see it happening. I think that this is absolutely wrong, but I'm also interested to see what the fate of this building will be when it is, you know, only allowing POC to live there, stay there, whatever.
Political division at American universities reaching a fever pitch. A new poll shows nearly half of college students wouldn't share a dorm with someone who supported the opposite presidential candidate in 2020. Meanwhile, UC Berkeley, an off-campus housing co-op for students, is barring white people from common areas. Here to react, University of Alabama student and president of the Free Thinker Project, CJ Pearson. CJ, great to see you this morning. Let's start with the first.
So first off, let me just say, automatically, because the brother CJ is on Fox News, they are going to say he's a sellout, an Uncle Tom, etc.
Who won't room with someone of the opposite political belief?
Oh, it's obviously Democrats, and thank you so much for having me. Well, it's one of those things where they love to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion until it comes to them actually having to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive to people who don't think like them. And this is just another textbook example of the such.
Yeah, so we saw that so many Democrats don't want to room with someone who supported Trump. Have you seen that type of mentality a lot? You go to the University of Alabama, CJ. I mean, I'm curious. What is it like?
And there's a lot of Trump supporters at UA. You know, but at the end of the day, I find that, you know, from my experience, the SEC schools, the schools in the South, the colleges in the South, I've had nothing but great experiences personally. They've always been welcoming. In the majority white spaces, they've always been welcoming. You know, you might have a couple skirmishes here and there, but that happens, and at least they don't end in gunfire.
Like on that campus?
You know, thankfully here in God's country, the University of Alabama, we don't have that problem. I think that, you know, one thing about me is that I very much am vocal about my support of the president, have been and will continue to be. And shouldn't be something that people actually should have to hide. You know, we live in America, which is supposed to be the greatest and freest country in the world. And if you have an issue with talking to someone because their political beliefs differ because of you, the problem isn't them, it's likely with you.
Well, let's just go ahead and take what started small and blow it up even bigger, because here we go now to UC Berkeley of people who not only don't want to room with someone of a different political belief, but someone of a different race. Sounds like a story from the 40s, but now it's in reverse. Here is a off-campus housing project at UC Berkeley where it's for people of color, and they are warned the following. Here are the house rules. Guests are allowed in common spaces, but please be mindful if there are house members in the room beforehand, white guests are not allowed in common spaces. No white guests, CJ.
Yeah. You know, that's exact racism. You know, it's exactly the type of stuff that Martin Luther King Jr. worked against when he said that we should judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. If you replaced that word, the word white, in that sentence that you just read with black, you would have protest, you would have condemnations, you would probably have Joe Biden himself rushing to UC Berkeley to.
He's absolutely right. I mean, they'll wake Joe Biden up from his eternal nap and he will be down there saying something. You know, it might not be something that you can actually understand, but if it was the reverse, I mean, we all know there would be pandemonium. It's absolutely insane what they doing to white people in this country. It really is. And I think that we had made tremendous progress up until like the last 10, 15 years. It's just gone downhill.
Condemn this for what it is: blatant and flagrant racism. Racism isn't just racism because it's targeting people of color. It's racism when it's targeting anyone. And I don't know when it became trendy to hate white people because of the color of their skin, but it doesn't make it any less wrong, any less unjust, and any less actually racist. And so the fact of the matter is that the fact that UC Berkeley is doing this and the state of California doesn't surprise me. It's pretty much, I guess, par of the course for a state like California. Thankfully, though, I go to the University of Alabama where something like that would never.
Second game of the season, CJ. I'm just going to point it out. Second game of the season, Alabama versus Texas. Now, listen, I'm very well aware you're going to roll Tide all over us in Austin, but I guess we get a shot at you. 2 years in a row. I'm banking on next year. I need one more year of development, and then it's horns over Roll Tide. Okay? Deal.
We'll give you one more year.
Okay, thank you. Good to see you, CJ.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Anyway.
So it is what it is.